Hello to Nursing 335 students. Dr. Hastings here. Hope all are good. I wanted to refer to, for a few minutes, one of the items that's coming up soon. I know people are probably focused on the scholarly paper, but the RN portfolio, to which I had stated to one of you, to Ada, that I was going to get some examples, some archive, which I did. Unfortunately, they're not electronic. So hence, let me do this clip, and then we'll refer to that. I'll do later on a narrative about Module 7 and overview. But for the moment, RN portfolio. So look, you got your directive, okay? If you recall, that's in your course material. It's like a separate module, the RN portfolio. And there's all sorts of stuff on here that you can see that contributes to this. But it's basically, as in a portfolio, sort of a package that validates your having completed the necessary requirements. And in this case, it's clinical. We're talking about, did you demonstrate, in having been a practicing RN, basically meeting the objectives associated with competence from a perspective of being a practicing RN, and that being validated because you already, as a practitioner, have a degree of leadership. And as people have chimed in on discussion boards, their focus either in being a director or manager or charge nurse, within a given unit, what it looks like. So hence, now speaking to this with a comprehensive view of your credentials supporting that, let alone your experiences. So within the directive, okay, the basics are obviously your license and your, let's just say, competencies from CEU perspective or in-house trainings, things like that, or conferences you went to, presentations that you've done, things like that, all right, that are talking about the first objective, applying knowledge that speaks to the course. Basic principles relative to ethics management and leadership. That's a little more detailed. 2 peer support letters related to your ethical behavior and practice. Now, that's something you had to get ahead of time. So if you haven't looked at that yet, absolutely look at that now. And then beyond that, your participation in committees and possibly shared governance, at your place of employment. Your absolute participation overall institution-wide in committees and other things that support the mission. Leadership roles. In effect, too. So you being a charge nurse or a group leader, that type of thing. And this is where it's hard because this is not here as you're looking at those online. So get that directive, have that in front of you. Okay. And then the other part of the directive itself, looking at things like ethical. Now, I'll have your ethical scholarly paper, so that'll be the last piece to this. But think about certain materials that you might have in place that supports ethical practice, and that could be from your institution, but also give us examples. Example of you in ethical practice, something that you could put in writing, in context. Acting as an advocate is what's stated here in particular. Continuing it again was mentioned, let's just say that sort of supports formulate plans for professional growth. That's big kind of thing. And any future plans you have, where you're going to. Some of you guys have some pretty explicit and specific, plans moving forward, relative to advanced practice roles or in management. So that's important. And then other things that you would have done then too to support, since most of you are not going to Capitol Hill Day. One is, what are the other nuggets here? Feedback to a legislator, membership, professional organization or planned organization, forensic or legal nurse consultant kind of work. So they're varied things, but take a look at that. You want to make sure you can check off it and validate those things and cite a specific example of professional experience that you have. So relative to, again, your potential relative to dealing with ethical dilemmas. Okay, so that's really the directive. Now, what I have, first of all, I have several different binder examples to this, to which people can come to my office. If you want to see the physical hands-on, since there is no electronic archive of these, as I've found out in consulting with my colleagues. To that end, though, let me just show you this particular one. And I think hang on one second. Okay, let me resume here. So I have a binder that speaks to this. And this person, they have the rubric just over the left, and it was graded by one of my former colleagues. They have, within the running head clinical portfolio, pieces of that. And I can't hold it up exactly right. They even have an abstract section in the beginning. And then components that are built within that relative to those objectives. And it's varied. All right, they have it laid out sort of as appendices, but even transcript-related kind of things. They have, more of the same. Cover the person's name. Their RN license, of course. CPR. Certain certificates relative to award achievements or their annuals, getting those in. So continuing it, I'm just trying to sort of go through some of these things. Again, this person did a presentation at one level, so an achievement certificate. Things like that really matter. Then this person also had included within the portfolio their paper, okay, their scholarly paper. So they had that. They even referenced the presentation. So there's a lot of things, okay, that are supported relative to the RN portfolio that run the gamut. And this person even has some graduate training, did a poster for one class. So things like that substantiate you as a professional, grounded in taking a higher level position and posture in leadership and moving it forward relative to validating your practice and your being able to be in a growth capacity as an RN who's thinking about assuming a higher function, relative to your roles. Basically, looking at this from the standpoint of professional growth and development, looking at scholarship, looking at leadership at face value, then too, and certain things that were leadership oriented. So, hence, like the charge role or manager role, and recognition you received relative to that. So, I think those things really matter with this. So, try to keep it simple. And again, I invite anyone to reach out to me and contact me relative to being able to come in and see these binders if you wish. This is one. I have 3 other ones if you want to observe them in effect. And too. In my office hours, I think I had expressed earlier, they're basically Tuesday morning or Thursday afternoon, but look, I could be any day. At this point in the semester, just name a day if you wanted to come in. And I would make that time, to look at these if you wish to. So, or it's possible I could meet you on the way in or way out from Wilkes-Barre to do that. So, something we can talk about for sure. All right, very good. I wish everyone a good day. Please get back to me with any questions regarding the RN portfolio assignment.